Sports Scene, Hampton Road's premier interview show with Kraig Bicouvaris, each Saturday from 10 a.m. to 11.
And you look at that, 4-4 at home, which is just average, 4-3-1 on the road. I mean, you're not going to win any games like that. They were not the same team after they beat the Packers, yet the Packers were a totally different team.
Interact with Sports Scene on Twitter @GregBic and listen weekly as Kraig interviews distinguished guests with excellent commentary and insight. Sports Scene, Saturdays at 10 a.m. on the Lighthouse 100.1 FM. From Chesapeake, Virginia, the Lighthouse 100.1 presents Sports Scene. Sports Scene features local, regional, and nationally acclaimed guests and excellent interviews. Follow Sports Scene on Twitter @GregBic. Now here is Kraig Bicouvaris.
Sports Scene presented by Hampton Roads OnlineMall.com. And first and foremost, we want to say, may the memory be eternal for all the victims in Virginia Beach. Sports Scene is midweek online, Saturday on the radio on 1010 AM, 100.1 FM, and tunein.com by typing WPMH in the search bar. Tell your friends about Sports Scene. Twitter @KraigBic, @GJBRadio, and you can see the rest of my Twitter handles on GJBTV.com. Thank you to our military. Guest lineup presented by Buffalo Wild Wings and Newport News. Phone line presented by Outback Steakhouse in Kempsville and Virginia Beach, now delivering. GJBTV.com. Major League Baseball, hard to believe the All-Star Game is coming up in just a few more weeks. NBA Draft soon, Women's World Cup in soccer, a lot going on. Great interviews, excellent guests, business segments, highlights, commentary. What teased me off? Thank you for listening to Sports Scene. We love our regulars, tourists who listen online and on the radio. Stay tuned.
Thank you, too, for your great show because it really makes people think about topics that are important. I listen and I love and I've called in before, too. I just really appreciate your program. I also think that it's good to have debates because it lets us all dig a little deeper. Hey, what does God's Word say about that? So I appreciate your show. I think it's great, and I think we all should be digging deeper into the Word of God and seeking God as to what He's called us to do.
Be sure to tune into Picking Up the Habit every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. here on the Lighthouse 100.1 FM.
Catch up on archived editions of Sports Scene by going to GJBTV.com and clicking the YouTube image on the homepage. Now back to Sports Scene with Kraig Bicouvaris.
And welcome back to Sports Scene. Always a pleasure. Kraig Bicouvaris along with Andrew and our first guest, Kraig Cole. Brought to you by CP Shuckers, a locals tradition on Shore Drive, Pacific Avenue. People love their great food. Appetizers such as steak bites, sandwiches, burgers, all the games on TV, especially Major League Baseball. Go by and see all the great chefs, Matt, Mark, and everybody at CP Shuckers. Like them on Facebook and visit their website for delicious food. Your summer headquarters is CP Shuckers. Our annual tradition is the Hampton Cup Regatta, where we start doing interviews every month leading up to the event, which is in the fall. Let's welcome back Kraig Cole. Kraig, good to see you.
Hey, Greg. Thanks for having me again. This has got to be tradition for us. I always enjoy y'all coming over and talk with y'all. This year is our 94th Hampton Cup Regatta. We've been around a little while, since 1926. This year's event is going to be September 21st and 22nd. We have our traditional kickoff party over at Ouzel Finch Craft Brewery Friday night, the 20th at 6:30, with Running with Scissors band. They're a good cover band and seem to be a good party band, so they have good following. So we're looking for a good time.
Looking forward to it. It's hard to believe we're in June, the kickoff to summer. We've already gone through Memorial Day, and another month or so it'll be July 4th and less. And really, you start gearing. This is when you guys really gear up because you're still a water-based event.
Oh, yeah. We do our planning starting really the month after the other last year's event, but really things start getting hot and heavy in June because this is where we're getting our contract signed for all of our amenities, our logistics, our porta potties, our golf carts, all their tents. This year we are hosting again the Summer Nationals, which means a larger boat count, and we're hoping for the Grand Prix to come back again this year. They made a return last year after about a 12 to 13 year hiatus. They put on a great show, and that's 170 miles an hour on the water.
I really think it's one of the premier events in the fall in Hampton Roads. And, you've changed your dates over the years, but last year in September, it was very well received.
Absolutely. We actually went to September 2 years ago, and just it's the thing that we try. We're never afraid to try something new, and that just turned out to be the thing to do. August has gotten so hot, and nobody wants to melt into the asphalt. The engines run better, less humidity, and we get higher speeds out of the boats actually with less humidity.
I think you get the best of both worlds. You said this is your third September coming up, and people are already back in school. So all the tourists are pretty much gone. This is a big local event, but you got people from out of town still coming to your event.
Oh yeah, we still have our out of towners, our race families, obviously, but we do have our tried and traditional folks that come down from Richmond, from DC. They come up from Nags Head, from Raleigh, that kind of thing. Because it's a weekend event, you can make a day trip out of it from those areas, and we always love to see the folks come back. We love to see the families growing up, the little kids growing up, and we're hoping to get really this year. This is a little bit of a surprise. I mentioned to you earlier. We're actually bringing what we call our J-Stock driving school, the APBA sanctioned driving school, to the Hampton Cup Regatta this year. This J-Stock is the 9 to 13-year-old class, and we actually are bringing the school that will teach these little ones how to drive a race boat. We can do up to 24 kids a day. We're doing both days. So we'll have more for that to follow. But anybody who wants any questions can go to the website or email us at hcr1926@gmail. But I'm stoked about that because I love to see the kids come out because those are the future. I mean, it's kind of tongue-in-cheek to say it or a little anecdotal, but that is the truth. I mean, those are the ones that are coming up for our next generation.
Right. You mentioned over 90 years of tradition. They're going to carry it on the next 90 years.
Absolutely, because you and I are not going to be here for the next 90 years.
If we do, it's a miracle.
Right. We might need some cybernetic implants or something, that kind of thing. But we always got a few things to look forward to. We have our Blackbeard crew, our pirates will be back out. Everybody likes to see that. We just had recently our Blackbeard festival here in Hampton. They kick off the summer, we end the summer, we like to say. But we're having a good time.
There's something for everyone. We're talking to Kraig Cole from the Hampton Cup Regatta. This is Sports Scene, heard every Saturday morning from 10 to 11, both on AM 1010, FM 100.1, tunein.com, type in WPMH in the search bar. Of course, you can listen to Sports Scene as well on Twitter via @GJB Radio, and of course on YouTube as well, archived on YouTube. When you talk about your event, you start your planning process pretty much as soon as 2018's event was over. What did you learn from last year's event?
We always learn what went right, what went wrong. This year we had very few things that we had to point to that went wrong, because nothing necessarily went wrong, but it's how to do a little bit better. This year we did host the Summer Nationals again, which went a higher boat count. So we actually brought some folks in from the APBA National Office to kind of help with the overall flow over on the pit side. That's not something the public really sees, but it just helps overall with the flow of things, keeping the boats on the water and just keeping everything flowing right. So really, I mean, I'm pretty proud to be able to say that, we've gotten this thing down pat pretty good.
Yes, you have, and we're talking to Kraig Cole about the Hampton Cup Regatta, and let's talk about the sheer speed and what are these boats made out of?
You've got everything from your traditional wooden hull boats, like your little J-Stocks I talked about, up to fiberglass and combination. And actually some of your higher end and some of your larger boats, you actually see a carbon fiber type construction. If you ever want to go on Instagram or Facebook and Google those things, or even YouTube, you'll see these guys, they have videoed and posting what they're doing in the off season in their shops and everything. And you're seeing just like any NASCAR race car going through its evolution of construction and repairs and that kind of thing. But top speeds, like I said, 170 miles an hour with the GPs. The little J-Stocks, the guys I talked about before, they actually will go to about 40.
Mm-hmm. And this is a family fun event.
Family fun event. We've got a kids area down there at the Fortin Row end of the bridge. We always look forward to seeing the YMCA come out, and Calvary Assembly of God comes out and help manage and help have some activities down for the kids, because the little ones can get a little bored in between the heats, what have you. But we want to keep everybody happy with that. We've got food vendors out there. We've got adult beverages out there. We've got traditional sodas, French fries, hot dog, pizza, that kind of thing. We do have a little merchandise vendor, little village, and our limited edition collectible, highly collectible, I'll say. Mm-hmm. T-shirts. Every year T-shirt design is unique every year, and every year we put unique set of boats on there. And we actually had started that process with identifying who we want to put on there and the overall layout. little tagline we're hoping to work in there. It's a working title down at the bottom, over 10,000 horsepower in Hampton. It might go to 20 once I really calculate all the average boat showing up and their horsepower.
And some people, love the water. Some people are, haven't been too many water experiences. But one thing, living here, you've seen the water. This is really a neat event. It's a free event, of course. And we don't want to underemphasize that enough, because it is a free event, open to the public, and it's for several days, and it involves a pre-party as well. But really, there's something for everyone.
Something for everybody. We have a car show at the other end of the bridge at Fort Monroe, from opposite end from Phoebus. Like I said, the kids area, we've got a little bit of everything. If everybody's your traditional gearhead, and I mean that in a loving way, you can go over to our pits and talk to the drivers, talk to the owners, seeing what the cowling's off, and seeing what they're doing, because they are tweaking these boats right up to race time. If they've come off the water, they're making some adjustments to try to get a couple more horsepower, a couple more miles per hour out. But yeah, it's a little something for everybody, and I cannot thank the city of Hampton enough, and obviously Fort Monroe. And folks who come down to Fort Monroe, if you want to make a weekend of it, they've got a whole plethora of things to do historical over there on the fort. It just blows your mind. And every year they're discovering new history and new things over there.
Really, then you got Buckrow Beach not too far away. Phoebus has really grown. There's some really good restaurants over there. There's right there on Mellon Street, and of course, there's something for everyone right there in Phoebus and Hampton. And you take great pride in it because you grew up in Hampton.
I'm born and raised in Hampton. You're going to make me choke up, because anytime that we have our outer town guests or racers and race families, and they talk about how welcome they feel and everything, that makes me warm inside, because it tells me that we have done something right as an event, as a committee, as a person. You've made someone who's traveled up from maybe Florida, New York, Arizona, Washington State, that they feel at home here. And just the hospitality that we show to them and everything else, it just makes you, okay, I've done it right if I've got them to that point.
And we all have a grind during the week. I mean, 6-7 days a week we're working business hours. Business hours are tough, but this is the weekend. You're supposed to kick back, relax, loosen up a little bit. This is a great place to meet some friends and make some new ones.
Yep. You meet some old friends. I always like to say you meet your new best friends. Yeah, that when you come down, because everybody, it's a common thing you find that I love racing. This guy likes racing, or this girl likes racing. It's just something it's a common interest you find. And like I said, after the event's over, you can meander down to Phoebus and enjoy everything down there. I'm not even going to try to mention all the restaurants because they keep adding more and more and more. But just the Phoebus whole environment has just exploded and gotten so much better, and it's coming back after the fort closed in 11 as an Army post.
Right. We're going to come back in the second segment, talk to Kraig about the volunteers, how they can get involved, his board that meets all the time, talk about how many racers will be there during the race weekend and their sponsors, and what it takes to put on an event like this magnitude in the city of Hampton. The one thing I find about this more than anything is consistency.
Yes, it's very important to do that. And our bridge layout is pretty consistent. So when folks come on the bridge year after year, and I'm talking about the Mercer Boulevard Bridge between Phoebus and Fort Monroe, you know where the sponsor tents are. You know where the food tents are. You know where the bleachers are. You know where the kids area is in the car show. Like I said, we've gotten this down pretty turnkey. With a few little tweaks year to year, but nothing too major. But it's just it's a hometown feel. It is my hometown. So, but when you walk in, you know where to find things, you know where to expect things, and it's just it's a wholesome event. Like I said, it's a family-friendly event, and I have just seen kids just grow up and bring back their own kids later, because I've been part of this event for 20 years now.
Very good. All right, Sports Scene will continue more with Kraig Cole from the Hampton Cup Regatta. Not only a local event, a regional and national, international event right here in Hampton Roads coming up in September. For more, log on to gjbtv.com and also Hampton Cup Regatta. Google it and see all about their great website. Stay tuned.
Thank you, too, for your great show because it really makes people think about topics that are important. I listen and I love, and I've called in before, too. I just really appreciate your program. I also think that it's good to have debates because it lets us all dig a little deeper. Hey, what does God's Word say about that? So I appreciate your show. I think it's great, and I think we all should be digging deeper into the Word of God and seeking God as to what He's called us to do.
Be sure to tune into Picking Up the Habit every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. here on the Lighthouse 100.1 FM.
Interact with Sports Scene on Twitter at Greg Bick. Email bicogb@hotmail.com. Now back to Greg Bicouvaris in the Hampton Roads OnlineMall.com studios.
Welcome back to Sports Scene. I want to thank our good friends at Sakura Japanese Restaurant, right there at Walmart Way Crossing. Delicious Japanese food, excellent sushi, all you can eat, takeout, dine-in. Ask about delivery. Give them a call at 410-4577. Go by and see Jasmine today. Hampton Cup Regatta is our theme for Sports Scene on this show. We welcome back Kraig Cole and also get a special guest.
Yeah, we got Kevin Gunther online with us. Kevin's one of our younger racers. I don't think he's cracked 30 yet, but that's all good because his body can take all the shaking and breaking on the water. How you doing today, Kevin?
Hey, how are you doing? I'm doing pretty good.
So we're actually a couple months into the start of the this year's season. Anything you want to share with us this year?
Well, we're sitting second in points right now in the Jersey Speed Skiffs after 2 races. We've actually done 3. We raced in the HRL Cambridge race a couple weeks ago, and we were running pretty good, so we had some engine issues, but it was good timing for that, getting ready for the APBA season. So. And then I've been driving a 2.5 stock for Marshall Gildemaster, too, which has been a lot of fun, which I started doing midway through the year last year. So
yeah, I do remember. Yeah, I remember you talking about that. You were switching over to that last year. That's pretty awesome, man. Gildemaster's a good man.
Yes, he is. I did so well on the boat last year. We were over ecstatic at how we did at the Hampton Cup last year. Finished with the 5th in the Summer Nationals in a really stiff class. So we ended on a good note last year, and we're building on it this year.
Well, we're looking forward to having y'all come back. For those who are listening aren't familiar with that class of boat, can you kind of describe a little bit for them?
They're about a 16-foot carbon fiber foam core boat. They run on a 2300 series Ford engine. It's 4 cylinders, naturally aspirated. We'll get up at Hampton, we'll get up to about 105, 106 mile an hour at the end of the straightaways. A lot of very close, tight racing, very good drivers. And currently in the class, there's some of the best in the world racing. So it's a lot of fun with a lot of good competition. It's one of the best classes in all of boat racing.
Yeah, I like watching those guys because there's, I hate to say this, but there's very few flips or whatever that you see with that class of boat. It's a real steady boat there.
Yeah, they can do it.
Oh, I know it can, but it's not going to do it like one of your 5 liters where you just got that much hydrofoil out there to catch the air to flip you. What horsepower are we running on that one?
I'm not 100% sure on that answer. I haven't fiddled with the motors too much. Somewhere in the hundreds, I would venture to say.
Okay.
Close, somewhere between 100 and 200, somewhere in that range. I can't give a definite answer. Marshall builds the motors and stuff, and he knows all that.
He could tell you.
He's got the dyno, but I'm not privy to that info.
Okay,
I just drive it.
I was telling Greg earlier that we have a working catchphrase for this year, and it could go up, but I'm starting at 10,000 horsepower in Hampton, so we'll see where we can rack that up to once we get an accounting for our average boat count showing up in their horsepower. I'm hoping we can.
I think we could easily break that.
I'm hoping we can go to 20. You know, that
I think we get higher than that. I think there's going to be some. I hope there's a lot of boats there this year. It was a good showing last year.
Yeah, I think we had pretty close to 80 boats there last year. So we'll see that hopefully maintain there or even go up. I know we're counting on seeing the GPs come back. We talked to a few of those folks, and we're getting a thumbs up for them guys, which just tickles me to death because after a 12-year hiatus, to see them back last year it felt right, and it is right.
It was cool seeing those boats out there on that course, man. That big course with those big boats, that's that's good stuff.
Now tell me something, Kevin. Did you start off in a J stock, or did you go straight to a T boat when you were doing racing on your own? I know you rode with your dad a lot in the skiff, but doing your own, did you go straight to a T, or did you? Just
I did. I started driving for the Thompson brothers. What year is that? That was 2014, I think, is when I did that, and I shared a ride with Caitlin Shaw in the boat that I currently own.
Gotcha.
I started in that boat and ended up buying it from Ed, and that's what I started driving in, and then I was given the opportunity to drive Jim Davis's 1-liter mod. Actually, I'd like to say rest in peace to him. He was a good man. He lived a long, good, fun life racing boats. Made it to 95. I wanted to give him a shout-out. He did a lot for me in this sport, and he gave me my first win in a race boat, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So, he'll always hold a special place in my heart.
Yeah, we hate to see those folks pass on, but it is part of life. Reason I bring up the J stocks, we are actually Shane is actually going to bring the J stock driving school to us this year, and so we're hoping to see a lot of new racers cutting their teeth out there on the far side of the Mill Creek, learning how to drive a race boat. So never know, man. We might be developing some competition for you down the road there.
Hey, bring it on! I love the competition, man. I like being pushed.
Yeah.
Someone's not pushing me, and something's not right.
Well, we never want to see what was that old thing from Days of Thunder, rubbins racing. We never want to see rubbing in boat racing, because usually that becomes disastrous.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, well, so where are you heading next? I mean, this is the almost the middle of June, so where are you heading toward next? What's your next race?
The next race I'll be attending is Brockville on the HRL circuit. I actually, as of last night, I was asked by the JO61 team, who's running the HRL circuit in the skiffs, because they added them. Mm-hmm. He asked me to come up and ride for him because his rider couldn't make it to the race, and we weren't going, so figured he could snatch me up for that, and so that'll be my next race.
Gotcha.
It'll be a little weird racing with another team in the skiffs, but
you're not racing against yourself, so that's the thing.
No, I'm not racing against us. It's perfectly fine.
Well, we keep talking. We mentioned the Jersey Speed Skiff a couple times. Again, for the folks who are listening and not familiar with that class boat, can you give us a description on that one?
Yeah, they're a 16-foot runabout style lap straight call. Very traditional looking boat. The only one that looks like a boat that'll be there. We have a roll cage. We run a 283 or a 305 small block, naturally aspirated with a 4-barrel carburetor. We can at Hampton, we'll reach speeds up to 80, 85 mile an hour at the end of the straightaway. While we may be the slowest class, we are definitely the most entertaining. The boats jump all over the place. They're always a handful, and we always like to put on a good show. As the class likes to say, we are the show.
There you go. Like you said, those boats, the class does bounce around, and I swear I cannot count how many times I've seen y'all go around turn one and near about go 90 degrees to the water, and my heart skips a beat when I'm thinking, oh my Lord, they're going to go over, but you never have. And that is and a lot of times when I see folks out and about, they always bring up the skiffs. Are the skiffs coming back? I'm like, oh yeah, skiffs are all. There's one thing you can always count on at Hampton Cup Regatta. You always see the skiffs come out and have a good showing and put on a good race.
I will tell Hampton one thing. The skiffs will never not be at Hampton. We love that race course. It is fun because it is big, wide, and fast. And that's what all of our races love. That's
what we like to hear. And there's some of the folks I've gotten the clarity on some of the about why Hampton runs so fast is our consistent water depth out there in Mill Creek. Because you run some of the rivers or some of the lakes, you've got a inconsistency in that. Water depth. But with Hampton, you're pretty much flat through the creek area, and you have a chance to build up and work off that. I call it a pressure wave. It's probably something else, but you get the chance to work off of that and really get those speeds going. And I did mention before we got you on. Switching to September actually puts a lot less humidity in the air, which will allow the engine to run more efficiently and hopefully get a few more miles per hour out of it.
Oh yeah, we actually, in Marshall's boat, from previous data and our data logger we have in the boat, we actually saw a performance gain from previous years, just with the cooler temperatures and less humidity and all that stuff. There was a definite performance gain all around, just because of the timing of when you put on the race as opposed to being in August like it used to be.
So
that was nice to see.
So there is something we can rely on, not just it felt better, felt faster. Well, we actually got hard data. I'm an engineer by trade, so we got some hard data that we can rely on to say, yep, it's definitely performing better.
Yes. It's all, that's the one real cool thing about, how the sport is really advancing into the technological age is you're hard pressed to find a boat in the pits that, maybe the T-boats, I don't run one, but, some of these more competitive classes where guys are throwing money at these things, there's a lot of data logging, and we know what the boat's doing at every little increment of that race course, and it's, we can go back and we can use that information to tune carburetors or change props or make the necessary adjustments to find speed, and it's really improved the quality of racing overall.
Well, that's good to hear.
In my opinion.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because I did bring up earlier about how our pits are open. You can come over and talk to the owners, racers, drivers, and as y'all are making adjustments on the boat between heats or up to your initial race time, because that's literally is what's going on. And like you said, changing out carburetors, and I hate to say it, but sometimes we've had to change out engines because we've had a blown engine before, time to time. So what's been the most challenging thing under that category, would you say you've experienced, not necessarily at Hampton, but at any given race?
As far as like the technological and engine aspects of stuff?
Like you've come off the water, it's like, man, we got to do this, we got to do that. What's been the most challenging thing? I mean, it's you're actually tightening up that last bolt before getting called to the crane.
More than anything, it's propellers. I mean, it being semi-new to this and, learning some stuff, the one thing I'll say is propellers it's a science, and it's not easy to learn. They're very finicky. You can have two propellers that are the exact same dimension, look exactly the same material, and one could be great and one could be junk. So it's, it's a lot of testing that goes on when, we're not at race courses and stuff like that. But sometimes it'll always throw you a monkey wrench, you never know what the salinity levels and, the density of the water. And
right.
All that stuff changes everything. So, it can really give you a headache trying to figure out propellers. And,
that's not...
there's some guys there with 10, 15 different propellers. I'm like, how do you even choose one?
I would probably look at 2 or 3. I'd be scratching my head, let alone 10 or 15. That's definitely something you don't want to figure out once you get out on the race course to say, oh, man, I should have picked the other one.
It happens to all of us.
Yep, I can certainly understand that. I'm sure it's that way with any other kind of racing as well, with your car racing, motocross, or what have you.
Yeah, it's definitely. It's like in Formula One, picking your tire tread, whether you want soft, medium, hard. It's going to do different things to the boat. It's going to make the boat handle differently. I've thrown propellers on my boat that someone told me to try, and I come back in, I'm like, get this thing off my boat. I can't drive this.
That's interesting. I don't think I've ever...
you put on there, and it turns it into a rocket ship.
I don't think I've ever seen that in you. Every time I see you, you've always got a smile on your face. I'll have to make sure I keep an eye out for that.
I will tell you, a couple of years ago, I put a propeller on my boat at Hampton, and I hated it. I came back in, I said, get this off my boat. Jeff Titus, to Jeff's credit, he was trying something new, and he saw I wasn't running too great, and I was having propeller issues, and he had this propeller sitting in his car, and he said, well, why don't you try this propeller? And it was a 4-blade propeller. It handled pretty good. It was just the speed is what made me get this off of my boat. Mm-hmm. It was a bat out of hell halfway down the straightaway, and then it would just die in RPM. Yeah. It was just too much prop. So.
You don't think he was sitting you up, do you?
No, he reworked it, and we're putting it back on my boat this year because I told him what it did and everything, and he went back and reworked it. So he thinks it may be right now. So we're going to give it another go this year. So we'll see what happens.
Well, that's cool. We look forward to seeing all y'all. And if anyone comes down to the pits and they want to take a look at something, what will be the number one thing you'd want to tell them to go check out?
Well, if the Grand Prix are there, go check out the Thompson Brothers or the Kennedy's Grand Prix, GP25 or GP35. If you want to see what, the state-of-the-art, best equipment out there, guys who take care of their stuff and everything in pristine, I mean, those guys set the bar. They are the standard, and,
They run a tight ship, and they have a pretty boat. I'll tell you what. No matter what class they're running, they put on a top shelf.
And Brandon, with the Kennedys, with Brandon being there, Brandon's such a great guy. I mean, he's more than willing to talk to anybody and tell them about that and all that stuff. And they are top of the line, top notch guys. And
gotcha.
If you want to meet somebody, those are the guys to do it. The Thompson Brothers Racing and Kennedy Racing. Those guys are the standard I try to hold myself to.
Yeah, we're starting to run out a little bit of time. I'm getting the wrap it up symbol from the engineer here. Greg, is anything you want to throw out there?
No, we look forward. Maybe we'll talk to you again before the big event. We're still several months away, and thank you for your time and your talent and your treasure in this beautiful showcase here in Hampton, Kevin.
No problem. I enjoy coming on here. This is my third time I've come on the radio show, and I've enjoyed it every time. I love the race. I love the area, and I can't wait to get down there at the end of the summer and finish up the year.
All right, you be safe. That was Kevin Gunther. And Kevin, all the best. Have a great summer, my friend.
Thank you very much.
We'll be talking to you, buddy.
Sports Scene will continue after this.
Thank you, too, for your great show because it really makes people think about topics that are important. I listen and I love and I've called in before, too. I just really appreciate your program. I also think that it's good to have debates because it lets us all dig a little deeper. Hey, what does God's Word say about that? So I appreciate your show. I think it's great, and I think we all should be digging deeper into the Word of God and seeking God as to what He's called us to do.
Be sure to tune into Picking Up the Habit every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. here on the Lighthouse 100.1 FM.
You are listening to Sports Scene with Kraig Bicouvaris. Now, back to Greg.
Kraig, thank you again. It's going to be a busy summer for these drivers. Before they come to September, they got a schedule as well.
Oh yeah, they have a whole host of races they go to up and down the East Coast for our APBA schedule, as well as I call it the competition, the HRL schedule that runs out of Canada. So these guys, literally, if they want to go racing every weekend, they could between March and October, every weekend.
Very good, my friend. We'll be talking to you in July, August, and September.
I look forward to it.
We never cut you short.
No, that's good. I appreciate it.
Okay.
So 94th year, we're looking forward to it.
We have a lot of fun, folks. This will be on YouTube as well. Sports Scene will continue after these messages.
At Hartman Dentistry, not only do you experience exceptional customer service with compassionate dental care, but with our in-house lab, we're able to offer same-day dentures. Options are available for all budgets. Plus, we work with 2 credit companies that will finance treatment for patients without insurance or limited coverage. Call Hartman Dentistry today to learn more about how we can fix your smile faster. Call 757-873-3407. That's 873-3407.
It's now time for Greg's Highlights, presented by HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com.
Highlights, GJBTV.com, HRSMHOF.com, HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. Click the YouTube link on GJBTV.com for archived audio and video, including Sports Scene. Question of the day presented by Buffalo Wild Wings and Newport News to our esteemed producer, Andrew. Andrew, do you try to get along with everyone? Or are there just some people, no matter what you do, it doesn't work or click?
Well, the short answer is yes. There's some people that just will never get along with you. But, my mom used to say the older you get, the less you care about what people think. That's definitely true in my case. Used to really be a people pleaser. And the last few years, I got to tell you, I just care less and less about what people think of me. So I guess I'm sort of in a shifting period of my life right now as far as that goes.
Very good. We'd like to welcome the men and women in uniform serving around the world, listening to today's version of Sports Scene on TuneIn.com and also YouTube. Thank you for all that you do, and we hope you're enjoying today's version of Sports Scene. Sports Scene will continue in WPMH, AM and FM after this.
Mold, trash, rodents, snakeskin, even deceased animals. No, this isn't a Halloween shopping list. It's what might be under your house, in your crawl space. Schedule a free crawl space inspection with the Crawl Space Company and find out what's in your crawl space. Call 757-394-3494 to schedule your free inspection or visit thecrawlspacecompany.net. So, do you know what's in your crawl space? Catch up on archived editions of Sports Scene by going to gjbtv.com and clicking the YouTube image on the homepage. Now back to Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris.
Want to thank our good friends at Buffalo Wild Wings. Go by and see Paul and the wonderful staff and his great staff of co-workers. Excellent lunch, dinner, appetizers, dinner, excellent burgers, salad, traditional boneless wings, great rollout menu, great specials as well, kids menu, desserts, something for everyone, wings, beer, sports. We're at 12150 Jefferson Avenue in Newport News, right next to Patrick Henry Mall, 1 Jefferson Avenue, convenient for everybody in Hampton Roads. Great food, watch all the games on TV at Buffalo Wild Wings in Newport News. Open lunch, dinner, and late night. Excellent place to socialize and enjoy good food. All right, hope you enjoyed our first part of our interview with the Hampton Cup Regatta and their team. Now let's talk to Cathy Dress, and Cathy will tell us about her title and everything that she does. She's a regular on this show once a year. Cathy, how are you?
I'm doing fine, Greg. How are you?
Very good. Happy kickoff to the summer, and tell us about your Elements business and all about it.
Yes, I own Elements for Personal Healing, and I'm certified in energy modalities of Body Talk and AcuNect. And I also provide craniosacral fascial relief via the Gillespie approach, which I found is an awesome approach to being able to release fascial adhesions and scarring.
And you had a really interesting career because you were a teacher for a long time, correct?
As a teacher, I'm a speech pathologist, for a long time. And I bring all of that medical knowledge into what I do now with energy medicine and holistic work, because everything starts and ends with the breath. And if you can't take a really good deep breath, or you've got what we call a stress breath, where the shoulders are lifting up and down constantly, but we can't quite get that diaphragm moving, then that's going to shut down quite a few things in the body and give you a lot less range of motion, as well as being able to even just get the fluids and blood flowing through so that you can be your optimal for whatever you're going to do, whether you be an athlete or couch potato or whatever.
Absolutely, too. Talking to Cathy Dress about Elements of personal healing and her great business, because a lot of times doctors or dentists or teachers are confined in a certain room for 8 hours with not a whole lot of release, though they even have a lot of stress too. And you probably realize that when you were a teacher, but when you own your own business, then you have your own stress. But the good thing about owning your own business is you're pretty much free to do what you want to do, and that's a big burden taken off your shoulders, to have that word free emotionally, that you're not tied to a Monday morning meeting and sales meeting at 8 a.m. or have to be back at the office Friday at 5. So there's pros and cons of being a business owner.
This is true. It has its own rather unique stresses. You are the breadwinner for yourself, and being able to make really good networking connections, and being able to have the time and make sure you've got all of your clients seen. May in particular was such a fantastically busy month for me. I taught several classes because I teach a class called Self-Care, which teaches you a little bit about each of the organ meridians with Chinese medicine, and a balancing technique that you can do in 2 to 3 minutes every day. And it's very, very powerful and very, very simple. And that's what energy work should be. Very, very simple. And even working with, whether you're working with performance anxiety or injuries, or just someone who just feels like they've just been kind of feeling off. I get referrals from doctors and chiropractors and massage therapists that, we've done so much, and yet there's something that they're holding within that, we can't figure out medically what's going on. Yeah, and a lot of times, you could be holding on to an emotion or what we call an active memory surrounding something. that you've gone through, and being able to release that really helps the body to get into that flow again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, talking to Catherine Dress, and you really, during the summertime or anytime you need some downtime, you need a vacation, and sometimes people are just too busy to book their own vacation. That's why we can do it online, but the stress of even a vacation can also affect people too. So really, I guess the best element really is that you have to be in sync with your mind, body, and spirit, whether you're at home on a staycation or a vacation in an exotic place, that you really have to have peace of mind, because you're going to get thrown in all different pieces of directions every single day.
Is that not the truth?
Yes.
We're going to encounter stress every day. It's how we react, or even better, not reacting to it, but being proactive. And with that, that gives you that presence of mind. And that's where we're supposed to be, is in the present, not worrying about what is going to happen or what might happen, because we can literally worry ourselves to death, and not worrying about, something that's already been in the past, because that is finished. And that's a really hard thing for people to work with and deal with on a daily basis at times. And with that, even when you see people in traffic, and, we're now at that time of year where the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel is going to be so packed with tourists and everybody, as well as the locals, coming in and out. And we can tend to get really aggravated at our fellow drivers. Maybe somebody's cut us off, or maybe somebody is going way too slow in front of us. We can see that they're not being present to the moment, and they're not being present to those around them. Having energy balancing sessions really helps you to kind of get rid of that frustration and anger, and what it is that's really triggering, whether it be having control in your life, or just maybe you were anxious about something else that happened during that day. Mm-hmm. And maybe you weren't, even drinking enough water during the day. As well as I do, Greg, of how important hydration is to our system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even when you're not thirsty, you should drink some water, and really it's very important. Talking to Catherine Dress, and adults have their pressures from their personal life and their business life, and kids and teenagers and trying to finish high school have their personal lives. Then you see the society we live in, where we glorify people like the Kardashians, and these teenager shows like Teen Mom, and then you got Dr. Phil. So they're getting thrown in all different types of directions, no matter what age you are. Is the peer pressure for these kids, like I mentioned, those two shows, the Kardashians and Teen Mom, are kind of outrageous, but somebody's watching it because they're making money off of it, but doesn't mean those teenage girls or guys need to live their life like that.
No, and I'm, it goes to show you just how much reality TV isn't really real, and things that can be staged, and how things can get blown out of proportion, even for a TV show, and that doesn't really create a good example to teenagers. I see quite a few teenagers, like right now they're having final exam time in high school, and I see them for that performance anxiety. How are they going to do on the exams? Could that make or break them getting into college or even moving to the next grade level? And we as teenagers don't really know everything that we would like to about how to deal with stress. And when the parents are unfortunately having to run around so much, being caught up in today's stresses and anxieties, and trying to be everywhere at all times too, that can create quite a disconnect even within the household, and just that quiet feeling of just needing to be supported and being able to support yourself. And that's a really good lesson for teenagers to learn, is how to come back in and really just bring it back to that breath, and being able to get a good deep breath in, and being able to let go of the stresses of everyday life.
Yeah, especially business hours, Catherine. Weekends are one thing. Business hours are totally different. It seems like some people can, after 5 o'clock, when the banks are closed, when they've got their stuff done, they're more relaxed. But weekends are totally different. You might go to the beach. You might go to the pool. That might be your highlight. Catch a movie, get some dinner. But there's totally a difference between the stress of 9 to 5 and after 5? Because, mostly after 5 might be personal. During business hours, it's very hard to have a personal conversation.
Well, have you even sat at a restaurant lately and just looked around you to see how many people are glued to their phones?
Yeah.
And it may be after business hours, but yet they've not set those good, healthy boundaries, or what we call WPMH, about the fact, hey, nope, my day is ended. Okay, now it's all about the body-mind coming down into that relaxation mode, ending my day. And that's really, really important in order to let go of your day. Being able to come away from our phones and our laptops and our iPads and everything else is really important, because all of those pixels can really get the brain riled up. One thing that I do is work on that left-right brain, that masculine-feminine brain, and being able to get it working together to bring you out of that fight or flight, that stress mode. And with that, we come out of that stress mode and we're able to think a lot more clearly. Mm-hmm. And then we can set some really good boundaries for, when does my day end? How much socialization time do I really need via a phone or a Facebook versus, hey, I've got a live person right in front of me and I can be sitting and talking and just enjoying my food.
Yeah, really, what's the point of going out to dinner with a friend or a family member if they're just going to look at the phone and not even engage in a conversation? Put the phone down, enjoy your meal, whatever it is, or dessert, or just enjoy the company. I remember the first time I got married, I went right up to the girl at a restaurant and said, would you like to go out? She gave me her phone number and we got married. There's so many different ways of meeting people now, and connecting, but a lot of it's not face-to-face and verbal, and I think we're losing sight of that.
There is a point to be made to that, and with that, we've stopped following our gut intuition, and we really do need to follow our intuitive, whether we call it following our heart or following what our gut is telling us. Those are very real brains within the body. You've got 3 brains within the body: the one in the head, the one in the heart, and the one in the gut. And it's being able to follow that gut instinct, that gut intuition, and following your heart that really then does lead you into what we call the path that you're supposed to be on, instead of forcing an issue or forcing things to have to happen. And, isn't that then half the pleasure of meeting somebody new, whether it be across the room or at a function, that you get to have that chance to socialize and to just really get to know a person. Right. In person.
And not everybody's all happy and positive. There are negative Debbie Downers, Danny Downers that'll try to drain your energy. Stay away from those people, because, fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering. And there are a lot of people, no matter what, will see the glass half full and they'll try to take you down with it.
Oh, when they see the glass half empty? Oh, yes. And that's not really where their true soul or true spirit lies, their true self. That's something that has really been in a state of what we call an imbalance. When you're really fogged down in that negativity, and we call them energy vampires, because they will come and they're sucking your energy out, and yet on that other side you're allowing it.
That's true.
And that's what we call an imbalance or a weakening of your healthy protective boundaries, or WPMH. And a lot more people are hearing about what qi is. It's just Chinese word for energy. And your WPMH is your overall health protective boundaries, so that when things or people are getting under your skin, so to speak, that just shows that where that weakness lies, that there's that deficiency. So we work on that and getting that toxicity out so that you can be balanced.
Yeah,
and just take on your day. Yeah, take on your day.
A lot of toxic people, just try to ignore them if you can. Leave us with your name, phone number, and, of course, how people can connect online as well as social media.
Sure. It's Catherine Dress, and my business is Elements for Personal Healing. And my business site is elementsforpersonalhealing.com, and they can also connect with me through there. There is a page that where I can receive emails there, too. And my phone number is 598-2065, and that area code 757.
Catherine, always great talking to you. And next time we get you on, we'll have to talk a little Orioles, too.
Yeah, I think the Orioles need to talk Orioles.
Yes.
Right now.
Not Oreos like the cookies, Orioles. All right.
Orioles. My boner Orioles.
Oh,
yeah.
boy. Oh, they are great in the past, that's for sure. All right, Catherine, thank you.
Well, future's coming.
That's true, honey. Thank you for your time, your talent, and your treasure, and have a good rest of the summer.
You're welcome. Thanks a lot.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, Sports Scene will continue after this.
Half of all pregnancies in the U.S. are unplanned, and 43% of those pregnancies end in abortion. CareNet Peninsula is a nonprofit on a mission to bring help and hope in Christ to women facing pregnancy decisions. We're completely community funded. Because of faithful partners, our medical clinic provides free pregnancy tests, ultrasounds, and many other services. This support saves lives of hundreds of preborn babies a year and changes families. Will you help us? Donate or find out more at cnpeninsula.org. That's cnpeninsula.org.
Mold, trash, rodents, snakeskin, even deceased animals. No, this isn't a Halloween shopping list. It's what might be under your house, in your crawl space. Schedule a free crawl space inspection with the Crawl Space Company and find out what's in your crawl space. Call 757-394-3494 to schedule your free inspection or visit thecrawlspacecompany.net. So, do you know what's in your crawl space?
At Hartman Dentistry, not only do you experience exceptional customer service with compassionate dental care, but with our in-house lab, we're able to offer same-day dentures. Options are available for all budgets. Plus, we work with 2 credit companies that will finance treatment for patients without insurance or limited coverage. Call Hartman Dentistry today to learn more about how we can fix your smile faster. Call 757-873-3407. That's 873-3407.
Thank you, too, for your great show because it really makes people think about topics that are important. I listen and I love and I've called in before, too. I just really appreciate your program. I also think that it's good to have debates because it lets us all dig a little deeper. Hey, what does God's Word say about that? So I appreciate your show. I think it's great, and I think we all should be digging deeper into the Word of God and seeking God as to what He's called us to do.
Be sure to tune into Picking Up the Habit every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. here on the Lighthouse 100.1 FM.
Catch up on archived editions of Sports Scene by going to gjbtv.com and clicking the YouTube image on the homepage. Now back to Sports Scene with Kraig Bicouvaris. What tees you off? Presented by HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com.
Want to thank our good friends at Outback Steakhouse in Kempsville. Go by and see Mike and the wonderful staff. Spacious, nice dining area, bar, lunch and dinner daily. Burger, steak, soup, salads, appetizers, seafood, pasta, chickens, ribs, chops, desserts, all the great beverages. Dine in or carry out. They deliver in a radius there near Virginia Beach in Kempsville at 1255 Fordham Drive. Give them a call at 523-4832. Like them on Facebook. Go to their website and, of course, order online as well. 523-4832. Outback Steakhouse in Kempsville. Great place for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. All right, what teased me off, Andrew? You know those, we always get those friend requests. That's one thing, that's okay in Facebook. But mutual friends who you have no idea who they are, really, and they're sending you friend requests, and just because you know somebody and somebody else knows somebody.
Yeah, I really don't understand that. I'm not sure. I always try and imagine being that person thinking, okay, I'm going to send this invitation to be a friend with someone. And every once in a while when I go against my better judgment and accept it, I give them like 2 days to email me or say something to me. And if they don't, that's the end of that.
Right. Basically, I heard this. Facebook has legalized stalking.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're asking somebody that's a stranger to come into your life. That's why you don't want to post but so much stuff.
Absolutely.
This is really bad. Making eye contact, Andrew, with a person in public, that's arrogant. And they give you that look like, ugh, that really that grim, energy draining look.
Yeah, nobody wants to get that, So, but like I said earlier in the show, I'm less and less worried about what people think about me. So I try not to worry about it. Move on with my day.
We mentioned this before and what teased me off about commitments that, are overtaxing. But here's a really bad one. When you have a 4-day commitment, 4-day, folks, but all you think about is your personal stuff, Andrew. Like, I need to get an oil change. I need to get ink for my printer. I need to get a tire rotation. I need to do chores. I need to cut the grass. I got bills to pay. That might be a time like you to say goodbye to that 4-day commitment.
Yeah, I used to do a lot of event planning, and it seems like it never fails that you'll have a bunch of personal stuff come up right when you're in the midst of trying to get an event to put together, or you're running it, and it's just so stress on top of stress. So that's where we need like some of that breathing, like the last guest was talking about.
Yeah, there's no app for an oil change, folks. You still have to physically go do it as well. All right, Andrew, you know these people. You've seen it along in business. Your dad saw it as well. People who only show up when it's free.
Yeah, that's true. There are some folks and people who will try and get things for free even when they're not actually free, and that sort of thing. And it's frustrating, but especially if it's a service or an event you're putting on, you put on a smile, you're nice, you don't want to get any bad promotion out there from being rude. But yeah, you gotta ignore it, I guess.
People you don't want to break bread with, yet they keep showing up, thinking like it's the way it used to be. Sometimes you and your friends just dissolve as friends.
Yeah, that happens a lot, and we've been very close with a lot of college students who are now graduated, moving on to the next season of life, and we've had to help them understand, a lot of those relationships, some of them might last for the long haul, but a lot of them, you're in a different season of life, you move on, and it's okay for some relationships to sort of fizzle out and just be in the past.
Right, this happens to everybody when you're on your feet a lot. It's not fun at all. Getting blisters on your feet or on your toes, especially from walking or standing on your feet for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what you're doing, you need to really take some precaution from that, because it just makes everything a million times harder. Even just a walk to get a cup of water is going to be a painful activity. So yeah, if you're going to be on your feet a lot, make sure that you got the right shoes, the right socks, all that good stuff.
We mentioned this before as I wrap it up on what teased me off, that we've all texted somebody else the message intended for someone else. That's really awkward to begin with. But when you see somebody in public, you forget their name, Andrew, and you call them by another name or an email. Let's say, for example, the girl's name is Julia and you call her Julie, and that can be really awkward.
Oh, absolutely. I really struggle a lot with my long-term memory, so if it's somebody I don't see very regularly, I've pretty much forgotten their name. You can almost bet on it. So I'm a master at avoiding calling people by their first name at this point in my life.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than going to a restaurant and saying, hey, you. I mean, instead of saying, hey, John or Susie, whatever. All right, that's what teased me off.
Half of all pregnancies in the U.S. are unplanned, and 43% of those pregnancies end in abortion. CareNet Peninsula is a nonprofit on a mission to bring help and hope in Christ to women facing pregnancy decisions. We're completely community funded. Because of faithful partners, our medical clinic provides free pregnancy tests, ultrasounds, and many other services. This support saves lives of hundreds of preborn babies a year and changes families. Will you help us? Donate or find out more at cnpeninsula.org. That's cnpeninsula.org.
Mold, trash, rodents, snakeskin, even deceased animals. No, this isn't a Halloween shopping list. It's what might be under your house, in your crawl space. Schedule a free crawl space inspection with the Crawl Space Company and find out what's in your crawl space. Call 757-394-3494 to schedule your free inspection or visit thecrawlspacecompany.net. So, do you know what's in your crawl space?
At Hartman Dentistry, not only do you experience exceptional customer service with compassionate dental care, but with our in-house lab, we're able to offer same-day dentures. Options are available for all budgets. Plus, we work with 2 credit companies that will finance treatment for patients without insurance or limited coverage. Call Hartman Dentistry today to learn more about how we can fix your smile faster. Call 757-873-3407. That's 873-3407.
Sports Scene, Hampton Road's premier interview show with Kraig Bicouvaris, each Saturday from 10 a.m. to 11.
And you look at that, 4-4 at home, which is just average, 4-3-1 on the road. I mean, you're not going to win any games like that. They were not the same team after they beat the Packers, yet the Packers were a totally different team.
Interact with Sports Scene on Twitter @GregBic and listen weekly as Kraig interviews distinguished guests with excellent commentary and insight. Sports Scene, Saturdays at 10 a.m. on the Lighthouse 100.1 FM. Catch up on archived editions of Sports Scene by going to gjbtv.com and clicking the YouTube image on the homepage. Now back to Sports Scene with Kraig Bicouvaris.
I want to thank our guests today, Kraig Cole, Kevin Gunther, and Cathy Dress. For more, go to gjbtv.com, click the YouTube link @GJBRadio and @GregBic on Twitter for all about Sports Scene. For Andrew, I'm Kraig Bicouvaris. Once again, may the memory be eternal for the victims in Virginia Beach. We'll talk to you soon.